Thank you, Madam Chair. Secretary, it's good to see you. Thank you for being here today. This hearing could not have come at a better time, at least for my constituents in New Jersey. Mr. Secretary, as you know, during this past week, the Northeast Corridor, particularly between New York Penn Station and Newark, saw major delays due to a myriad of issues, some related to power challenges, potentially outdated infrastructure, and system failures. Not only have these major delays and cancellations become all too regular, but are now constant, with 16 such incidences within the last 6 weeks alone. Just last week, I wrote to Amtrak CEO Stephen Gardner requesting information and remedies for recent delays and cancellations. Today, I was informed that Amtrak and New Jersey Transit have reached an agreement to investigate these issues, and I'm reviewing that agreement now. Additionally, I, along with my colleagues in the New Jersey delegation, sent you a letter this week requesting an investigation into the failures along the affected section of the Northeast Corridor. And I hope that my colleagues and I will receive a response soon. Because of these regular delays prevent working parents from attending their children's sporting events and missing cherished family dinners. I look forward to working with you and your team on fixing these important issues. Mr. Secretary, the commuter railroads that operate up and down the Northeast Corridor, New Jersey Transit, Long Island Railroad, and Metro North, SEPTA in Philadelphia, and others, all have board of directors meetings that are open to the public so that the public can see the decisions that affect them are being made and so they can give their input to leaders directly. Still, Amtrak's board meetings are not open to the public. Mr. Secretary, would you support Amtrak becoming like the other railroads and holding open public meetings?
I haven't had a chance to evaluate what effect that would have on Amtrak's governance. Obviously, they operate by different requirements than a government entity because of their quasi-government role. But certainly agree that a high level of transparency is important in how a corporation of that public importance conducts its business.
Could you please investigate that and get back to me directly in writing what your opinions are on that? And because I think it's very important, and I agree with you, the more transparency for everybody involved in this, especially those people who are subject to any decisions of any board of directors, needs to be public. Thank you. Increased funding for Amtrak has allowed the agency to hire a significant number of employees in the last few years. How many employees has Amtrak hired for key operational functions such as flagging, track and tie repair, and electric traction repair?
Sorry, the question is
how many employees has Amtrak hired for key operational functions such as flagging, track and tie repair, and electric traction repair?
I don't have a tabulation of hires by employee category handy, but I'd be happy to request one from Amtrak on your behalf if you'd have trouble getting that.
Thank you. How is USDOT ensuring that Amtrak is investing in positions that actually do improve day-to-day operations?
Well, ultimately, it's a question of performance. And we want to make sure that Amtrak is meeting the performance marks that are expected of them, whether we're talking about on-time performance, maintenance issues, or their fiscal condition. Certainly seen a lot of improvement on the fiscal side in terms of them moving their operating numbers closer to break even or into the black pre-COVID, and would encourage them to continue that work. But also in very specific ways, we fund, mainly on the capital side, their operations in order to make, or their growth in order to make sure they have the equipment they need. I was concerned to see the recent mark from the House cut funding for Amtrak. I think they're working with resources that are sometimes spread thin, but working toward a very important mission as they do so.
As you know, I support Amtrak and continued service, and we need to have more stops, as we've discussed in the past, in Trenton as well as in Metro Park and throughout the entire Northeast Corridor in New Jersey. How specifically do you ensure that Amtrak's internal processes prioritize day-to-day operations from the top down?
Well, it's certainly something that we communicate in our engagements with Amtrak, the desire for a focus on results for the end user. I know they're balancing a lot of competing priorities in terms of their capital needs, operations and maintenance, and their vision for the future. But we know that one of the biggest obstacles to Amtrak's reliability has been underinvestment, and we believe that the historic investment we're making through the President's infrastructure package is helping them to get ahead of that.
Thank you. I yield back.